This week marking 1 year since 13 service members were killed in Kabul during the Biden administration's botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. Here to reflect on those heroes and the fallout, Fox News contributor, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, you guys were on track to leave Afghanistan. Were you on track to leave this way?
Brian, no chance. And good morning to you. Let me start by, you said reflect on the heroes. These were 13 Americans that didn't have to happen this way. They didn't have to die. This was a direct result of a decision that the President Biden made, a political decision to set a date certain. Your point's well taken. We were on a path to draw down. We did. We drew down by over 85%. We were down to just about 2,500 Americans. But, Brian, we had a set of conditions tied to that. President Biden came in and ripped up that plan. And when the Taliban began to move against the forces there during the Biden administration, he let them roll over us. When they did it to us, we dropped bombs on their head. We still had deterrence on January 20th of 2021. This would not have happened this way if I were still there, if President Trump were still there. President Biden did this against all the wishes of his military, of his civilian leadership. It was a singular decision. The buck stops with him for the loss of those 13 lives and all of the Americans that were left behind.
Al-Baghdadi evidently called and said the whole Afghan army is falling apart. Kabul is without any control at all. Do you want me to take the city to McKenzie, to General McKenzie, or do you want to take it? And McKenzie said, all we want is the airport. What would Mike Pompeo have said?
I would say exactly what we did when General McKenzie was there on my watch. We said, we're going to hold this airport. We're going to take care of our people. As we draw down, we're going to continue to keep the deterrence that we need. It's a debacle that was a result of a political decision that Joe Biden made. And the tragedy is that we lost 13 American lives. And, Brian, you know this. We still have folks who can't get out of that country, who deserve to get out of that horrible place.
Did Khalilzad cut a bad deal?
No, the deal that was struck with the Afghan government and with the Taliban laid down a set of conditions. The Taliban never complied. Brian, during our entire time, we were under no illusion that the Taliban were in compliance. We laid down a set of commitments to begin a reconciliation process there. We didn't get done. We were a long ways. We didn't pull the last 2,500 soldiers out. We were working our way towards making sure that we preserved the security that had come to America from 20 years of hard work of amazing men and women who served in our military there and saved countless American lives as a result of what these heroes did in Afghanistan for 2 decades, fighting against al-Qaeda and fighting against the terrorists in Afghanistan.
If President Biden didn't embarrass our country and our military by pulling out the way he did, many people think there would not have been a Russia-Ukraine war. We'll never know. But we know this. It's been a 6-month brutal battle. They're destroying what they can to the country, but the Ukrainians are fighting hard. Over the weekend, Daria Dugina was blown up in a car bomb. She's a 29-year-old big critic, a big supporter of Putin, critic of Ukraine, but her dad is considered Putin's brain. The Russians said they believe this goes right back to Ukraine. What do you think?
Well, if the Russians have proof of that, they should disclose it. The fact that someone who was an innocent, a family member, was killed, that seems to me to be a bridge too far. But make no mistake about it, pain will be inflicted on President Putin's team and those around him as a direct result of what has happened. It'll be inflicted not only by the Ukrainians and the cost they will impose on the senior leadership. We've seen how many generals have been killed in Ukraine. The Russian generals have been killed in Ukraine. But it will also be inflicted by his own people, who will come to see that this isn't a war that should have been fought, and these atrocities that are taking place inside of Ukraine are a direct result of what President Putin made the choice to do. An aggressive war against the innocent people of Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are fighting with great nobility.
Right, and the Russians have not made any progress, by the way, over that 2.5 weeks.
None.
Mr. Secretary, before you did this, you were CIA director. But along the way, every day that you were in office, this Russia investigation, which were rooted in nothing factual, hung over your administration. Many people say this germinated from the FBI. If you look at McCabe, you look at Strzok, you look at Kleinsmith, you look at everybody around there that went after this investigation. Do you believe after the raid 2 weeks ago, the FBI is targeting the former president and the people around him?
I think it's unmistakable that this law enforcement agency, great young people keeping drugs off our streets, doing all the great work the FBI does, has been politicized at not just the most senior levels, but deeper inside of the leadership of that organization as well. I think that is absolutely unmistakable. Whether it's chasing down parents at school board meetings or what happened in Mar-a-Lago, the leadership of the FBI has acted in ways that are deeply inconsistent with the traditions of that great organization. And the American people deserve to have an FBI that does its job, its mission, and doesn't behave politically.
You have something in common with Christopher Wray. You were both appointed by President Trump. Does Christopher Wray personally dislike the former president?
I don't know. Christopher Wray and I actually did some great work together on counter-China operations. I was proud of the work we did with great FBI officers in Houston, Texas, when we shut down the Chinese consulate. I hope that Christopher Wray will get that organization in a place that it just simply does its job.
Yeah. How much more time are we going to give him? Mike Pompeo, always great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great morning.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.